It would appear that Just South Guy responded to me. I have been informed. Got DMs. And I watched the video. First 3 minutes, he throws his insults at me. Now I am going to skip them and I will not insult him back. I will do what Michelle Obama has instructed me to do. When they go below, we rise above it. I'm rising above it right now. But I do want to tackle the arguments that he made. So let's listen to a couple of them. My God, look at this picture. It is absolutely beautiful. It was from a time when I was much younger. Should have shown this picture though. This one I like more. I prefer this one. If you make another video response, please show this one. Anyway, let's go with the arguments.
So I quote tweeted him instead of responding directly.
Very cowardly, by the way, but you should understand that because I have a lot of subscribers, people message me and it's like, hey, this person is gossiping about you. And I'm like, what? And I have to respond, especially if the take is interesting.
That seemed to get under his precious little skin.
It did. My precious little skin has been penetrated by just some guy. And I had to respond.
It has been the case with conservatives who now deem me the enemy. He picked a fight to show...
I don't deem you the enemy. I'm an entertainer. Alright? Like, if I see you on the street, I buy you beer. It's what manly men do. I do not believe that people on the internet are my enemy. I don't do this, okay? I talk about movies and video games. What enemy? Like, we are not fighting a bat. This is not a war. I do not have generals and officers. What I do have is entertainment and ideas.
Show off for his followers so he could wallow in their bukkake of likes.
The bukkake of likes must flow. It is social media. We are content creators. If I do not want clout, then what am I doing there to begin with? When you get clout, the algorithm loves you. When the algorithm loves you, it shares your videos. When it shares your videos, more people are aware of your takes. Which is literally why we're doing this, because otherwise we could just sit in our room alone and talk to ourselves. So this is why the bukkake of likes is very important to me. Extremely so. You can mention this on your next video. V enjoys the bukkake of likes.
Unfortunately for V, I have too much dignity to pay for Twitter, so I couldn't properly respond to him on that platform.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, you wouldn't want a platform that doesn't censor people who disagree with you. This is why I pay for Twitter. I support Elon Musk. He put it on a good product. Allows me to talk to people without getting censored. I pay for Twitter. With absolutely no shame. With absolutely no remorse. And the fact that it annoys other people who enjoyed the previous Twitter, where any dissenting idea was banned. So in order to upset those people, I spend $8. Their cries, their tears, their suffering is worth the $8 of entertainment.
However, he made a video about it, too, actually.
So it's just one. I do not know whether to throw this on being disingenuous, or should I throw this on being a liar? But this would be the second video. Maybe he saw the future. Maybe he saw the future and is counting this video as the second. But other than that, I only made one. Look, I'm even showing the finger here. One video, just some guy. One. That's all you got. This is the second. If you respond to this, maybe you'll get a third. Who knows? Insert coin to continue.
So I figured I'd respond to that. And since I consider myself a gentleman, I want to make it clear that I will be as thorough as possible, and as always, with respect.
I don't like getting into conflicts with other content creators, but sometimes they just come at me, foaming at the mouth, really upset and angry, and, well, you gotta defend yourself.
Is that why this is the second video you've made about this Twitter exchange? If you didn't want to get into a
Where is the first? Am I suffering from amnesia? Am I becoming presidential? Where is the first video? Like, literally, this was done. This Twitter exchange, as you're pointing it out, was 3 hours ago. When did I have time to make so many videos on this subject?
Saw a quote tweet, clicked on it, and dropped your room temperature response.
Yeah, literally, I got people DMing me about these things. I know it's astonishing, but you're a content creator too. You know how these things go.
I wasn't trying to talk to you. I was just making fun of your dumbass argument. If I know...
Yeah, but people expect me, it's kind of like the street cred. It's kind of like, you know what this guy said about your mother? And I'm like, what did he say? And they show you their phone, It's like, I'm sure, you're not trying to talk to me and you're trying to insult me behind my back. Vemo shkashi. I need to defend the street cred, the Twitter cred, because I'm into the bukkake of likes, as you pointed out. So I need to engage. I'm sorry. It is the way it is.
Known you'd be so sensitive, I wouldn't have held back.
The reason I'm making a video is because what he actually said here is something that I notice on Twitter a lot.
No, as you admitted on your live stream, you're making a video so you can get a dopamine hit from your followers.
Yeah. No, that's actually true. Oh, my live stream. My live stream. Oh, well, I mentioned it. Yes, but that's not a video. That's a live stream. That's a different thing. I mean, okay, fine. If you want to count it as a live stream, but that's like a live stream with very few viewers. It's kind of like you quote tweeting me. I was doing it without you being aware. I didn't even title you in the live stream. I didn't mention anything about it. Now you're breaking it up. Okay, yes, no, all right, fine. I understand where the two video the accusation comes from now. Naruhodo. It's just like how much time did I develop for it in the live stream? It was like a couple of minutes. And I think it was like because someone brought it up. But okay, fine. 2 videos. My bad.
It's also because you become so deeply ideological that the moment anyone challenges your bad argument, you don't...
Well, actually, it's about anything. Like, if someone challenges you on a take, you feel like responding to them, but okay, fine. Like, maybe I shouldn't have responded. Maybe I should have given you the silence treatment like everyone else does on the internet right now, huh? Maybe I should have treated you like the Flashcast, giving you the silent treatment.
Don't have a counter argument, you go for name calling, personal attacks, and as you're doing here, straw...
Well, isn't it how it's done? Like for 4 minutes, you went for name calling and personal attacks. I'm just learning from the best, from YouTubers that are bigger than me. It's like, I understand this is how the discussion needs to take place on the internet. Like, show me a different way, just some guy. Be my Jesus. Be my Messiah and show me a different way without name calling and personal attacks.
Oh, Manning, you're not going to address anything I said. What you're
I literally did address, though. Like, I don't know how to address more, but okay.
going to do is attack the straw leftist you have in your head. You were a meandering mess in your first video. Let's see if you got your argument together.
But was I a meandering mess? I think I did fine. Guys, was I a meandering mess? I got a visit from my in-laws. Maybe that's what rattled me. Like things happen in real life outside of YouTube. But I don't think the visit from my in-laws actually made me the meandering mess he claims I was. I think I was very presentable. Look at the avatar. Like, the avatar is standing upright. I'm not slouching. Why was I a meandering mess? See, now he got under my skin. My skin is too sensitive. I keep allowing him to penetrate my skin. I need to harden it up a little bit. But in the rest of the world, in the rest of mankind, this thing is not controversial, and these types of arguments can only be found on Twitter and sometimes on Tumblr.
So that's a no. You don't have your argument together. Claiming that other people agree with your bad argument doesn't make your bad argument right. What kind of...
No, but it's like a signifier, isn't it? Like when almost everyone universally doesn't complain over the fact that the left believes in equality and the right believes in equality, and when the overwhelming amount of people don't have to bring the Nazis and Jews and Marvel movies into every conversation, sure, you're right, maybe that doesn't necessarily say it's a bad argument that you did, but it's a very damn indication that it is probably a bad argument. And this is quite accurate of social media, isn't it? Like, you make a take, and then you get ratio to high heaven, the overwhelming amount of people disagree with you, and you can always say, well, just because the entire human race disagrees with me, it doesn't mean that my take is wrong. It's the human race that is wrong. I mean, yeah, it is a possibility.
What kind of baby brain take is that? Just because Americans support something doesn't automatically make it bad.
I pointed... Yeah, but it's like a very fringe, extreme group of Americans that support something. And when you go into other cultures, you do not see the same support for the same thing. And the fact that Americans support that something isn't necessarily grassroots. It can also be because it is dictated top-down by the academia, by the politician, by the Trust and Safety Council of social media, so on and so forth. You can, of course, say that just because a small amount of minority in America believes in something, that doesn't make it true. And my argument is that, well, just because the overwhelming amount of human population believes in something, it probably makes it true. Now, of course, it's up for us to prove these statements, but I do think, like, my statement has a little bit more weight. Out. that the difference between the left and right is that the left believes in equality while the right believes in quality. God, listening to my voice is so annoying. Holy shit. You know what? I hope that just some guy suffers what I'm suffering right now, and he's going to have to listen to his voice in my video. Like, that is my payback for him for making me do this. Right? So, like, meritocracy type of thing. Like,
Well, no. The word you used was quality, not meritocracy.
it's literally the same shit. If you want to hire a chef, you hire him based on the quality of his cooking. If you want to hire a writer, you hire him based on the quality of his writing. I don't know. Is it that I need to go with me no speaking English? Like, I think I mastered the English language to a certain degree that I do understand basic words. So yeah, when I say the right values quality, it is a meritocracy. I'm sorry if I've not made myself understood enough, but it seemed that everyone else in the comment section did get it. But again, like, I understand I'm not supposed to bring what other people understand in the conversation, so I guess we just leave it up in the air. Like, maybe I didn't do a good job expressing myself.
Now, I'm not as fluent in English as you, but I'm
No, me neither. It seems that English eludes both of us.
pretty sure that meritocracy doesn't mean the same thing as quality. And
I think I did a good job explaining it, though. Like, this time around, if I still didn't manage to get my point across, I'll give up. I don't know what else to do. I'll buy an English dictionary then.
as you, but I'm pretty sure that meritocracy doesn't mean the same thing as quality. And I'm certain that's not what you were talking about. You were clearly implying that equality, that treating all people as if they have equal value as human beings is a bad thing, and that treating some people as more valuable as human beings than others is a good thing. The problem with this argument is that people already tried your little idea in early 20th century Europe.
Here we go. The Nazis are coming. Godwin, insert your law into this conversation. Peer into this man's psyche and force him to talk about Hitler.
It didn't end well. Now, if you meant something different, you could have just told me that you were talking about meritocracy, even though that's not the word you used, but you didn't.
I literally did in the video, though. I literally did in the video. And by the way, while I did talk about meritocracy, yeah, I think equality as a concept leads to genocide. I am basing this on the Soviet Union, the history of China under Mao, almost every other socialist country on earth. Yes, equality, treating every single person the same, not a good idea. Because it's against human nature. And you know what it creates? It creates raging hypocrites. People that think they are better than everyone else because they believe in equality while not practicing it. I mean, just some guy. You made a video for 5 minutes here. Would you say that you're being charitable towards me? Would you say you are treating me the same as you are treating your close friends, as you are treating your family? No, you're not. You have been very condescending, very rude, may I add disrespectful. You're not treating me equal. And you shouldn't, by the way. Human beings do not treat people equal. You are treating me based on my value. I have not brought value to you. In fact, I have removed value from you because as we looked on Twitter, most people disagreed with you. Some people even criticized you. So because I removed value from you, you feel like attacking me. You're not going to consider me the same as other content creators who you are friends with, right? Now imagine you had an ideology that would force you to treat me the same like everyone else. That with the same kindness you show to your mother, the same respect you show to your father, you would be forced to show upon me. It would be a very tyrannical ideology, wouldn't it? It would be a horrible ideology to live under, wouldn't it? My ideology goes like, no, you should treat me any way you want me to be treated, right? If I don't bring value to your channel, to your business, you are in the right to make a video in order to try to monetize my video response to you. And of course, I can do the same, right? Like, maybe this is why we're on YouTube. This is why we're doing this, to entertain people.
Instead, you decided to light up a straw man and got pissy when I wouldn't defend it.
If you have a job, you want to hire the best person, basically. He said I didn't talk about meritocracy. How is this not talking about meritocracy? Right? This doesn't mean that the other people should be dealt with. And by the way, even in the argument itself, even on Twitter, I talked about the decolonization. Like, if you want to make people equal, and some peasants have land and other peasants don't have land, the solution that the Soviet Union came up with is to genocide the peasants with land and take away their land. And now no peasant has land. Do you see the problem with equality? Probably not. But anyway, right, like, it is a concept that I understand Americans haven't dealt with. They haven't lived under a communist state. They have like a fictional, romanticized version of what it is. But okay, yeah, I'll give that to a lack of experience.
V, it's plainly obvious I don't think you're talking about anyone's job. But instead of responding to that, you're just going after the straw leftist in your head.
The job was just an example. I gave other examples as well. You do not value the same people, like you do not value an arsonist and a firefighter the same. This is not about jobs anymore. This is about content of character. One person likes to set fire to things. The other person risks their lives in order to put out the fires. Even though they're both human beings, we do not value them at the same level. One person should be elevated by society. The other person should be condemned. Notice how in countries that are revolutionary oriented, like look at what happened in the Soviet Union when the left did its revolution, or look what happened in China when they did the revolution, you'll notice that the roles are inversed. All of a sudden, the firefighter is viewed as the problem, and then the people setting the fire are being viewed as heroes. The Kyle Rittenhouse case in the United States. Oh, that triggers you, doesn't it? Oh, horrible. Horrible. But like for some period of time, you weren't able to defend Kyle Rittenhouse on social media because you would get banned. You would get zooked on Facebook if you tried. Right? So like, literally the case was about people that were trying to set fire to a gas station while another person was trying to put it out. It was a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. But the person trying to put out the fire was viewed as the bad one, right? He had no value in the eyes of the progressive mindset. While the individuals that chased him, tried to hit him in the head with a skateboard, also had a rap sheet longer than my arm. Those were the actual champions.
Who ironically is still whooping your ass.
Alright, the left doesn't believe. You know when you whoop someone's ass, I just want to point out, it's nice if you let other people say that you did. Like, it's nice to allow, you know, some room for praise from the audience, because otherwise, like, how can the audience praise you if you're doing such an amazing job yourself? Even this, the left believes it's like, alright, tell us about why you are here. Okay, well, let me tell you why I'm qualified. No, we don't want that. No. I like this bit. I really like this bit. You know, I haven't watched my video again. I like this bit. I did a great bit. I should be on Saturday Night Live. I'm actually more funny, and I don't need writers. You know, like, they suspended Saturday Night Live because they didn't have writers. They're striking, so how can the comedian make jokes without, huh? Your heritage, your pedigree, your mother. What race it's really she? Good, isn't it? I'm laughing at it. She was what? Oh, no. You shouldn't laugh at your own jokes, but come on, this is so great. Do you not have, like, a little bit of African-American in you?
Dude, you've gone off on some tangent when all you had to do...
Yeah, it's literally identity politics.
...was steel man the left's position, and then explain why you think it's bad.
It's identity politics, literally. Like, it's the way things are done in the United States. I know individuals that live in California, yeah, who change their gender on paper so that they become female lesbians. Even though nothing changes about them, they don't change anything. This is just so that they can change their thing on paper so that they look good in a resume. That's it. Like, they flat out tell me what they're doing this for. And of course, all of this is not in the name of equality, because when you look at a company, it needs to have the correct percentages. Like the same number of the demographic in the nation has to be equally represented in that company. And this is why they hire based on pedigree and heritage rather than on merit.
That would win the argument. But all you're interested in is playing to your followers, so you give up the easy win to come up with this 3-minute-long straw man that has nothing to do with anything I said.
My brother in Christ, I win when my followers are entertained. I mean, if the troll avatar didn't give it away, I'm trying to be funny. Now, maybe you don't find it funny. I understand. You know, like, every person has a different sense of humor. Just like, if the overwhelming amount of human population disagrees with your political ideology, that doesn't mean it's wrong. So does it mean that if you don't like my jokes, that doesn't mean they're not funny. But I do think it has something to do with something you said. I had to explain why equality is a bad concept. How can I do that? Well, I had to take a 3-minute skit, make a funny joke, try to get people to understand why equality is a bad thing. Because for some reason you think that is the best shit on earth. I disagree. I think it's a horrible thing. But it's a different way of thinking. Hey, if you want to run your business like this, I mean, you know, like if, for example, just some guy would want to hire an editor for his channel, and he wouldn't hire like based on how much the editor is charging, or yeah, I'm explaining value here. You know, just some guy. I'm trying to explain why value is important and why the right believes in value. If you hire an editor, you should hire him based on the value he brings with his edits. That's my point. But I don't think you're going to get it. I haven't seen the video, by the way. This is my genuine reaction to the commentary. I don't think he's going to get it. How well the editor is, like, he would just hire, it's like, all right, show me your family tree. I want... Yeah, this is literally how the leftists would hire the editor. This is exactly how. Like, does he meet the quota? Is he meeting the percentages? Pick up the magnifying glass and I'm going to look through your family tree to see if you have, like, the correct genes so that we can... Yeah, did your parents fuck correctly? Are you properly diverse for the job? Promote diversity.
This is a perfect example of ideological brain rot. This is what happens when someone is so deep in the echo chamber, they can't even see the walls. This man's head is wedged so far up his ass, even a fisting expert couldn't pull it out.
Look at it. He's doing it too, right? Like, he's doing it too. You could have gone for the easy win, but instead you decided to play for the audience to get the bouquet of likes. We're both doing it. See, this is why I don't really have that much respect for left-leaning oriented people, because I see a common trend, okay? Like, they preach and they shame others on how to behave, but then they don't listen to their own advice. I don't really like hypocrites. You know, at least I admit, yes, I'm here for the likes. Yes, I'm trying to be entertaining. Yes, this is what I do. But you're like above it. No, you're the philosopher. You're like, well, you know, I'm going to be a gentleman and I'm going to be nice about it. Then let me spend another 3 minutes on trying to insult him.
The moment anyone talks like this, you must understand there is no reasoning with them. They're not trying to have a dialectic. They're not trying to have a dialogue. They're not trying to have a debate. They're not even trying to have a diatribe. They just want to score points for their side.
Dude, you literally believe that under every single right-winger is a Nazi. This is why you bring up the World War II arguments everywhere you walk, everywhere you go. The moment someone even remotely displays some hint of right-winginess, it's like, you're like the Nazis, aren't you? Come on, tell me, like, what are your thoughts about the Jewish people? This is what you do on Twitter. This is what now, I don't think, like, there's anything wrong with it. Like, you do you, buddy. You know, if this is how you like to have the conversations, fine. But then don't say, oh, why aren't other people interested in debates when I just go around and imply that they're Nazis? Why aren't other people engaging with me properly when I just try to slander their name and insult them the first thing I do? I don't know, just some guy. Why do you think that is?
All V's interested in is getting backpats from other right-wingers that he's owned the lib. So he will say whatever crazy shit he needs to so these people will fondle his balls.
Isn't this like a cinema? Like, aren't we seeing the biggest projection here? Like, why are you making this video if not to get likes from your left-wing audience and to show how you own the conservative? Like, this is literally what you're doing. The difference between you and I is that I'm not criticizing you for it. You know, I'm tolerate. Why can't you be more tolerant, just some guy? Why can't you tolerate other people for doing the exact same thing you're doing?
Like this.
I do not believe in equality whatsoever due to the fact that two brothers in the same household are not equal.
What are you even talking about?
I mean, I don't know how to make it more simple. I thought that it's really simple. Yeah, like two brothers in the same household are not equal. Like, you can use any metric you want, get them to play chess, run 100 miles, do mathematics, they will not be equal. Two human beings are not equal. Now, again, why am I talking about that? Well, it seems I need to remind just some guy that our point of contention was the fact that you didn't appreciate that I do not respect the concept of equality. So I made a skit when I used it as a joke to point out why equality is ridiculous. It is an anti-humanist ideology. The only way to achieve equality would be to force a person to be just as equal as someone else, and this is cruel. As I said before, it would be like forcing you to respect me the same way you respect your mother, so that everyone can get equal respect from you. Right? This is what communism actually teaches. Now, if you are being lost with this, maybe you should study your own fucking ideology a little bit more before getting triggered that right-wingers don't respect equality. Maybe instead of like having this superficial understanding of the world through World War II and Marvel movies, maybe you should read some papers about diversity, inclusivity, and equality, and then read some more about diversity, inclusivity, and equity, so that you can understand what I'm talking about, so that when I'm talking about this shit, we're on the same page. Like, read some Engels and see what he believed about equality. Read the Little Red Book of Mao and see what he believed about equality. This is what I'm talking about. Maybe this is why it's flying past you, because you're trying to defend an ideology without actually understanding what it's preaching. Your definition of quality and equality do not seem to align to those of what the academics are saying. And I am using their definition, so maybe this is why it's confusing. I'm generally struggling to understand, because I thought that I was being very simplistic in my explanation, but for some reason, he keeps missing the point. And I don't know if he's doing this because he's disingenuous, or he genuinely doesn't want to engage with the argument, which is also fine. You don't have to engage with the argument, you know? Just get the bukkake of likes, like other YouTubers are doing.
Equality doesn't mean every human being is exactly the same, dude, and no...
No, I didn't even say that. I didn't say that every human being is exactly the same. I said that not every human being has the same value. And I gave the example of when you hire a chef, you're hiring him based on the value of his cooking. I don't know how to simplify this anymore. I'm sorry. This is like the bare minimum I can go. I can't go any lower. Like, maybe you guys can help it simplify it further in the comment section. Like, help me out. Taskete, F1, F1. I generally want to have a conversation here. Like... I'm not even trying to make fun, like, you see, I'm not insulting him or anything like that. But it's like, how can I explain it more simply than I have already did?
Rational person arguing for equality thinks it does. What's being argued is that all...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that. See, this is the problem. He assumes that the people who created the ideology of equality, which are Marxists, he assumes that they're rational individuals and not just power-hungry individuals that are going to use whatever argument sticks in order for them to lead a revolution and gain power.
All people have the same intrinsic value as human beings and should be afforded the same rights and privileges in society and under the law. That's the left's actual opinion.
No, that's not. I'm sorry, literally, that is not. They do not believe in that. The left believes in diversity, inclusivity, and equity right now. And what you said does not translate in their beliefs.
What logical reason do you have to object to this? Why don't you present...
Yeah, because you're using the Mott and Bailey tactic, all right? I think I even said in my video that I believe in equality under the law.
That instead of repeating 10-year-old 4chan hot takes.
So, I don't even go on 4chan. Like, if I were repeating 10-year-old 4chan hot takes, then I would get under your skin. Just some guy says, it's funny that the right were saying the same thing in Europe 100 years ago. I wonder if that's why they built those camps where people could concentrate. Yeah. So, literally, this is why I even made the video. The entire argumentation on Twitter can be summed up as Marvel movies and World War II. Like, this is the extent of human knowledge that these people are allowed to bathe in.
Oh, sick burn, dude. You got me.
It's not a burn. It's true. It is absolutely true. Every single time I argue with the leftist on Twitter, he's going to talk about Thanos, he's going to bring up Iron Man, and then he's going to bring up the Nazis. I mean, there are other regimes that exist right now in the world. There are other dictatorships that are doing atrocities right now. Those are never brought up. It's just the Nazis. It only happens on Twitter. Like, if you go on other platforms or if you talk to people in the real world, the Nazis don't even come up in Marvel movies, not even then. As I mentioned, it used to also be Harry Potter, but for some reason, Harry Potter doesn't get mentioned anymore.
Son, I'll be watching all those Marvel movies I've never seen because I don't care about the MCU.
My main man, please don't have main character syndrome. I do argue with other people on Twitter as well. My statement was that on Twitter, people only speak in Marvel movies and World War II. You're speaking in World War II, but that doesn't negate the fact that there are other individuals that speak in Marvel movies. Not everything applies to you. Again, I do have other people attacking me on Twitter. You're not the only one, just so you know.
I'll be reading all them history books and watching history shows so I can notice when midwits try to do the same stupid shit that led to a world war nearly 100 years ago.
Really? So you're saying that the debt that the Weimar Republic had to pay to the Allies for losing a war, that's not the reason for World War II. Communists allying with the Nazis to invade Poland together, making Hitler feel secure about his geostrategical position and his influence against the Allies, That doesn't have anything with starting the war. No. What started the war, I guess, is people on Twitter. Like, they were just saying, hey, maybe we need to hire based on quality. And all of this equality nonsense, yeah, I don't think it works. Do you know that throughout human history, even the concept of equality didn't exist? Like, if you look at feudalism, they believed in aristocracy. They believed in the peasantry. They didn't believe in equality. Like this is such a new concept. And to claim that this concept is responsible for World War II shows such a significant lack of understanding that I believe it would be rather simpler to just debate Marvel movies with you, even though you haven't seen them. Because at this point, I don't think you read the ideology. I do not think you know what Nazism is. I do not think you know what communism is. If I ask you to tell me the difference between Nazism and fascism, I would be shocked if you know. I don't believe you know what ideology the United States used to have during this time. You have like this very simplistic understanding of history that comes from Twitter. This is the vibe I get. And I do think that you believe any right-wing person, regardless from what place of the world they are, that they're a secret Nazi in disguise. And that World War III is literally around the corner if more people start talking freely on Twitter. But this is why you're there, right? In order to prevent people from making statements on Twitter, in order to prevent World War III. You must think so high of yourself, right? Like, you're probably the beacon of peace, the paragon of justice that is preventing the next genocide from happening by calling out random twats on Twitter.
Because they think it's based. Ah, damn, you got me. You are so wrapped up in your ideology, you don't even hear what you're saying.
Well, like, at least I know my ideology. There's that difference. Like, at least I know what I'm talking about.
The lesson we learned from the insanity of 20th century Europe is to never let that happen again. So when someone starts talking the same, these people don't...
See? Literally, like, he thinks... I think, like, he is the guardian of Jewish people. Like, if you had a time machine and just sent some guy back into the past, none of this would happen. The World War II would not take place. But that's okay. We have him now. So I guess World War III is going to be prevented because he is there on Twitter calling out right-wingers.
Having equality bullshit. The only response we should have is, hey, shut that shit down. Because we already know where that goes.
We? Who's we? Do you have multiple personality disorders? Like, who's this we you're talking of?
And the last time I checked, the people who think like you lost.
If you look at... I'm pretty sure the United States believed in equality when they fought the Nazis. But it is true, like, the communists also won, and then they had the Cold War with the United States, and then the communists lost. By the way, there is also the concept of freedom and liberty that's more important than equality. But, that's what the United States used to believe in. In human history, most of Europe were doing some offshoot of Marxism. I will explain what Marxism is to you right now, right? Because I actually had it in my country. Like, I benefited from it.
Listen, I'm not going to fall for your half-ass straw man.
Well, yeah, you're not. Of course. You're just going to defend the concept of equality without knowing what it is. That's what you're doing.
You made an argument about valuing quality people. I gave an example, probably the best.
Well, the argument also talked about equality, and you got upset when I attacked the concept of equality. That's why we're here.
Best example of someone playing out that idea. And you respond with, what about Marxism, bro? We ain't talking.
Yeah, we are talking about Marxism. I literally said that the modern left believes in equality. That is Marxism. Like, I'm sorry if you didn't get the reference.
Talking about Marxism, socialism, or communism. We're talking about your retarded ass idea. Early 20th century Europe is what happens when someone plays out your dumbass idea.
No, literally not. And by the way, even if you were to go with that and you say that, well, the Nazis believed in equality and that's what started World War II, I would disagree with that take as well. The Nazis believed on racial hierarchies. That's why Nazism is bad. It has nothing to do with quality, right? Racial hierarchies are the problem. Do you know what modern ideology also talks about racial hierarchies? It's not the right wing, I'll tell you that.
And that's not to the extreme either. It's literally just implementing it. If you think I'm wrong, name an instance where people have tried your idea that didn't result in prejudice, discrimination, oppression, or genocide. And again, I'm not talking...
I mean, any ideology on planet Earth results in prejudice and oppression. Like you cannot even create an ideology that wouldn't have oppression. Like, for example, France is a secular nation. So they believe that in a public space you should not display any religious symbols. It's codified into their laws. But you have migrants that came to France which are Muslims, and they believe that women should wear the burqa, which is a religious symbol. The French government is literally oppressing them by telling them that they are not allowed. Alternatively, if the French government would side with the immigrants, then it would oppress the atheists who want to create a secular constitution. And they believe that no, like in France, you shouldn't display religious symbols in school. Like someone is going to get oppressed. There is no way around this. If you have, like in Britain, you had the scandals where Muslim parents said that they don't want LGBTs to be taught in schools, and they protested against it. The government is oppressing them. Now, if the government was to give in to what the Muslims care, they would oppress the LGBT community. The world is not so simple. It's not in black and white. There are sometimes factions of people that are diametrically opposed, and you gotta side with one over the other. And thus you'll have oppression. Every ideology, every country, every nation throughout human history, throughout the world, has not been able to fix this. Which is why it's safe to assume that oppression and prejudice is within human nature. However, to go from that and to claim that just because oppression and prejudice exists, genocide will always happen, that is a stretch that I disagree with. The United States, before World War II, didn't have any genocide, and it also didn't believe in equality. Their ideology, from your point of view, would be considered right-wing as fuck. Like, the people that stormed the beaches of Normandy are so right-wing that they would look at me and they would probably call me a left-leaning degenerate. And yet, I believe that their ideology is the one that didn't cause genocides. Unlike the communists, unlike the Nazis, unlike the fascists, their ideology was the correct one that I would side with. This is what I'm talking about. I know you probably will misconstrue my point. I know you'll probably not want to understand what I'm saying. But given the chance, if you could go back in time and live in the Soviet Union where they championed equality as a state religion, or you could live in the United States where those evil bigots that stormed the beaches of Normandy were, who believed in equality, by the way, I think you would choose the United States. I would do too, by the way. I think it was a great system, even though it was too right-wing even for my tastes. However, it didn't lead with genocide.
About some sport or profession, and neither are you. We're both talking about people in general just living in a society. So
yeah, but like even then, I do not disagree with the take. Like the moment a person living in a society decides to be a detriment for the society, like for example commits arson, then yeah, he has less value than the firefighter. This is why the arsonist gets locked up. Like his human rights get to be infringed by being put in a prison. Like we deprive him of liberty so that he stops burning buildings. And I'm bringing this up because we notice a trend in sympathizing with the criminal. The Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example. But then you also have changes in legislation in California now, for instance, where if a criminal steals less than $1,000 worth of good, the police isn't allowed to arrest him. That type of stuff. That type of ideology, where you treat criminal as the victim, makes society become the victim. Because now you have entire stores, even CNN made an article, where entire stores have locks on them, on their merchandise. Like if you want to buy something from a convenience store, you have to call in the clerk to unlock the merchandise. Like that's not normal. I don't have that shit in my country. Now, if you like living like that, but I have a feeling it's not in your backyard, so you probably don't care, that's fine. But the only way to get there is with the ideology that, yes, everyone has value. Even the criminal has value. But that's not correct, right? Like, the criminal should be condemned. The criminal should be shamed and ostracized. And by the way, you know, like, left-leaning people are, from what I see, not you necessarily, but from what I see, are more abhorred at a racist joke than someone mugging someone else. Like, you get to see this in the papers. I don't think this is normal. I don't think this is for a healthy society. When someone making a racist joke or a bad take is considered more of a villain than someone else that's mugging another person.
that's the example I want. Find one, if you can.
So, do you know who didn't have those? The Americans. The Americans did not have an ideology where they believed X is oppressing Y, Y needs to rise up against X, seize the welfare redistributed.
No, instead we created the ideology that all men are equal. You know that thing you disagree with?
No, you don't say all men are equal. All men are created equal. That's the difference. Created means that at birth, they get inalienable rights, but they're not equal. Equal is what communists believe. See, no, this is literally a fundamental of understanding. You do not know the ideology that you're defending, which is why you do not know what I'm talking about. So there's no point in continuing this video. I'll probably continue it on a live stream, though, so I can make 4 videos on this subject. But yeah, no, like, my assessment is that just some guy has a very flimsy understanding of politics, and he likes to dabble into political takes on Twitter, which is fine, by the way. But this is why, like, you're going to run into misunderstandings. Like, if you want to dabble into politics, let's do some superficial reading. All right? Like, the Nazis didn't start World War II because they believed in quality. That's like the dumbest take. Especially when the Jewish people under Weimar were bringing a lot of quality. In the financial sector, in the entertainment sector, in the innovation sector, in medicine, so on and so forth, right? The idea that, oh, well, the Germans started believing in quality, so that, no, absolutely not. Anyway, historians disagree with you. I will see you guys in the comment section, and I will probably talk more about this on the live stream. There's 10 more minutes, but this already took 1 hour to do, so I don't want to bore you with a 2-hour video. And I don't have beef with just some guy. Like, this is entertaining. I do like having discussions with people on the internet. Hope he's not upset, but he does seem a little bit salty given the high number of insults he is leaving at me. Some got under my skin, I gotta admit. Was very hurtful. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.